Joining me right now is Wisconsin Senator Ron Johnson. Senator, thanks very much for joining me. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Maria.
I want to get your take on how the race is going for you and then ask you about the investigations that you are pursuing. What would you say are the most important issues for Wisconsin voters, and why do you think you've now taken the lead?
Well, first of all, this is Wisconsin, so these are always going to be very close races, so I'm taking nothing for granted. I mean, to the extent that the race has turned to our advantage, I would say it's because we finally been able to get out the truth about my opponent. He's a radical leftist. He supported defund the police movement. He's helped dispirit our police and our law enforcement. He thinks the founding of America was awful. But we've got a couple weeks left here. I'll still need the resources to convey the truth, ronjohnsforsenate.com. But again, the issues really are inflation. A dollar you held at the start of the Biden administration is now worth only 88.3 cents. If you had a nest egg of $100,000 as a senior on a fixed income, it's only worth $88,300 before the devaluation of the market caused by Biden's recession. Record gasoline prices, skyrocketing crime, a flood of deadly drugs because of the open border. So, I mean, those are the main issues. But people are so concerned about just what's happening to our country. We're losing this culture. And it's all being lost because of the radical leftists in the Democrat Party, but also that have infiltrated just about every institution in this country.
Well, it's very discouraging, and then there's corruption on top of everything. You've been investigating the business dealings of Hunter Biden now for a few years, you and Senator Chuck Grassley. Did you know that Igor Danchenko was on the payroll of the FBI? Did you know that they had offered Christopher Steele $1 million to corroborate the debunked Steele dossier?
I did not know that, but we certainly found out that the FBI knew that the Steele dossier was tainted by Russian disinformation from Igor Danchenko, and then they put him on his payroll. So as corrupt as the Biden family is, and we've known this literally for years, the news media has, certainly Senator Grassley and I have, but what may be even more troubling is the corruption within federal law enforcement and inside a corrupt and complicit and dishonest media. You know, if we had an unbiased media, an honest media, first of all, we wouldn't have the corruption inside of federal law enforcement because they'd be holding people accountable. They would have been screaming about being fed false information as resulting from the Russian collusion hoax. But they're not honest. They're complicit in all this, and they're covering up for the Democrats.
Well, it's not all the media, obviously. I've been covering this for many years now, as well as the Russia collusion lie, as has Fox News. So there's that. But
no, Maria, that's absolutely. I'm talking about the bulk of the mainstream media. No, courageous reporters like you and John Solomon. There's certainly news outlets that have been reporting this, but it's been by and large ignored by big tech social media giants and the mainstream media.
No, that's right. It has been. I want to get your take on CEFC and when they first did a deal with Hunter Biden, because I saw the beginning of an email when it was 2016. And Joe Biden was a sitting vice president. So you have that big guy email in 2017 when they're working out the details and they say 10% equity held by H for the big guy. The earlier emails when they're just deciding to do a partnership together were in 2016, and Joe Biden was a sitting vice president. How long has this been going on, and what is the danger of accepting all of this money? You've identified more than millions that the Hunter Biden and Jim Biden and the entire family has taken in from Chinese officials. What is the impact of all of this now that we need Joe Biden to be tough on China in their stated goal of wanting to take over the United States as the #1 superpower?
Well, I think the influence peddling using the Biden name has literally gone on for decades. We certainly know that Hunter Biden joined the board of Burisma in 2015. That was corrupt. That was full of conflict of interest. So this has been going on for quite some time. And I think what the revelation, God bless the whistleblowers coming forward out of the FBI, people with integrity trying to restore credibility to the FBI. Now we know that they're sitting on a mountain of evidence. I think they're sitting on a mountain of evidence. We don't know if they're transferring that to U.S. Attorney Weiss. We do know from whistleblowers that he doesn't have the resources to do a proper investigation. But this should be troubling. It sounds like they were accruing funds for actions taken while Joe Biden was vice president to be paid off after he was no longer vice president. We don't have all the details, but it smells to high heaven.
What can you do about it, Senator? I know that you've got plans on continuing your investigation should you win and the GOP win the majority. But what do you want to tell viewers in terms of some accountability here?
Well, again, we need to uncover the corruption in federal law enforcement. They've been hiding this. They've been sitting on a mountain of evidence. We have a whistleblower said that once that laptop was made public, they had it back in December of 2019. But once it was made public, they were internally said, do not look at that Hunter Biden laptop. We're not going to impact an election again. So that needs to be exposed. I think we're going to have something like a church commission, maybe a bicameral select committee. I mean, I'd love to help head something like that. But we need to expose the corruption in federal law enforcement. But then also we need to expose the complicity and corruption of the media as well. And that's very difficult to do because they have all the power. They hold all the cards.
Well, and why is that? Why? I mean, these are issues that I would imagine we all should agree on. Influence peddling is bad. Protecting America should be number one. A wide open border is not a policy for immigration. So why is it? When did this happen that, there's been such support for some of these lies in the media?
Well, it really goes back to the 60s when our universities were taken over by radical leftists. So they control colleges of journalism. They're not cranking out journalists by and large anymore. They're cranking out advocates for the left. I mean, I feel it big time here in my race in Wisconsin. All the questions, whether it's in our debates or just in gaggles on the street, come from the perspective of the left. They're trying to defeat me here. It's not been an easy task. But, one thing I do want to get out here before, our time runs out. If I am fortunate enough to win re-election, if we take control of these Congresses, we need to impose a discipline. We need to reinstate function in Congress. And that really starts with budgetary and appropriation function. We need to pass a budget early next year, and then we need to have that budget drive an appropriation process, get back to regular order. This is completely unacceptable. Passing CRs, kick the can down the road before Christmas, and drop a multi-thousand-page bill that's going to spend $1 trillion plus without anybody even looking at it. That is corruption. That is dysfunction. That has to change, and that's something that Republican leadership must commit to, restoring function back to Congress, both chambers.
And it seems like it happens over and over again, like clockwork. Senator, it's good to see you this morning. We'll be watching all of that. Thanks very much. Ron Johnson this morning in Wisconsin.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.